Today we are looking at Sidharth Malhotra and Kiara Advani's relationship reading. So first of all, if we look at the heart lines, we see that his heart line is starting from between the two fingers, which means he's emotionally balanced. Uh, and then we see Kiara Advani's heart line, it's starting from the Jupiter mount. It's a very long heart line. Maybe it's starting from the percussion itself. So basically, it means that these two are not heart-wise compatible because on one side, yes, when you have the heart line coming from between the two fingers, you are compatible with both the heart line from the Jupiter and from the Saturn. But in this case, I would say still not compatible because this heart line is very long, and that heart line is considered to be shorter or medium in length. So what happens is for the long term, these people they don't get along very well. In a short term relationship, yes, they're very good because they get along very well. But in the long term, they don't get along very well. So maybe they will divorce later on as well. Could be possible because the heart lines are not matching. If we see another interesting aspect is that they get along mentally because if we see that the headline and lifeline are joined for a while in Siddharth's hand, but if we see her hand, we see that the headline and lifeline are separate on her hand. So this means that they are compatible mentally. They are very mentally compatible, and maybe that's why they entered a relationship because of the mental acumen. And then we see that the headline, if we see the headline of hers is going deep into the moon mount, which shows creativity and talent. And if we see his heartline, we see that it's straight in the beginning, then it goes downward. So this is the headlines are also matching. So both of the headlines are straight in the beginning. More hers is more sloping, but here we see that it's a bit more straight. So he is more practical kind. Even the hand itself shows a more practical kind of hand. So they're mentally very going along well with each other. But for the long term relationships, I always recommend the heart lines to match because the heart is what has to match in the long term. So there's that. And their fate lines also seem to match. It's coming from the lifeline, and here it's also coming from the lifeline. If we see here, it's also coming from the lifeline. So the fate lines also match. So this is also good. So most of the lines match except for the heart line. If we see the mounts, we see that his Venus mount, Moon mount, and Jupiter mount are very developed. So here, if we see her hand, we see that the Moon mount is not developed. The Venus mount is medium developed, but the Jupiter mount unsurprisingly is developed, which shows ambition. And next we look at the thumbs. If we see the thumb here, we see that the thumb is balanced and but it's not vase shaped. This means she's very straightforward and she doesn't beat around the bush. Here we see that the thumb has a vase shape on it. So this means it's a diplomatic kind of person. This person is very diplomatic. So he does, I won't say beat around the bush, but he is doesn't rub you the wrong way and gives good first impression. So he is not direct. This is also opposite attract. I would say that they get along thumb wise as well, but mounts wise they don't get along. If you see his mount of Venus is very developed. So I won't say opposites attract in this case, but in this case, the children will be a problem because he would want children early on in the relationship. He would want many children as well, but she would hold off on it and not want many children, especially in the beginning of the marriage. And if we see another interesting aspect is that the heart line, when it's long like this means that the woman is materialistic. In this case, this is true because what happens is that he is worth $10 million and she is worth $4 million, the net worth. So this case, she married for money in one way. So she and especially with the heart line when it's long, the person does not marry below their station. They usually marry above their station. So in this case, she married above her station as well. So there's that as well. We also see that the thumb is also very long. So this means that she's the dominant one in the relationship. And he, in this case, might also like have problem with her dominance further on into the relationship. Even though he has a short thumb, so that means that he is one to be dominated by the partner. But still, in the long term, this won't be successful. In the short term, for a relationship, it will be successful. So if I was to give them a rating, it would be 7 out of 10. They're not that compatible, but if they work out their issues, they could be long term compatible. I would still say that I think after 2 to 3 years, they would be divorced. It's a sad thing to say, but according to my analysis, this could be possible. So thank you for watching. If you like this video, like it. If you love it, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.